And then you just hear like, how about you presume I throw you off the boat? Like smacking his.
And he goes, "How do you like that? Presume." He's like, it was such a...
I love that part. Boils and Ghouls, if you love this show, want to consider showing a little bit more support, please head on over to our Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help George and I create some killer content and run what is hands down one of the best Facebook communities for the horror fans. Head on over to patreon.com/HalloWeekly. Hey there, Boils and Ghouls. Welcome to another episode of Hollow Weekly. Nick and George here with...
Anaconda. I didn't think we wanted this movie, but we do. It turns out
we weren't gonna do it. We called an audible.
Yeah.
We had picked Anaconda, and then George was
Well,
like,
okay,
no,
so
no, we called two audibles. So it was,
yes,
it was Anaconda's on the list. We don't want to do that. Let's do the Wolfman.
Right.
And then George was like, wait a minute, let me counter that audible with another audible, and say we go back to Anaconda.
So for people who don't know, I'm assuming most of them do now, but what the audible on the list is that we're doing the How Low Can We Go series, where we're reviewing movies from 59% all the way to 0%, one at a time, until we get to zero or
die.
Until
our bodies.
So Anaconda is 38%. And we were not going to do it, but I mean, I'm really glad we did.
I'm super glad we did.
So let me blow your mind a little bit, because this is what the feeling I got halfway through this movie was. There's a thing called the Mandela effect. Okay, mm-hmm. So what it is it's the idea that there are glitches in reality and that you're in parallel dimensions where you're not in the universe you think you're in, but then the universe parallel gives itself away by doing something weird. Okay, so for example, there's no show called Sex in the City. It's Sex and the City, but you think it's Sex in the City because everyone thinks it's Sex in the City.
Because a lot of people are having sex in the city.
Right, exactly. Exactly right.
Like, very clear.
Or like the little icon guy on Monopoly, the one with the monocle. You know that dude?
No, because he doesn't have a monocle.
Doesn't have a monocle.
You're trying to pull that one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of those things. So here's the thing. Halfway through this movie, I'm thinking to myself.
Though, anytime I see a monocle, I go, that's the
Monopoly guy, right?
Right there.
Exactly. There's tons of cool examples. Google it. It's a fun idea. But halfway through this movie, I would literally, I turned it off. I turned on the news, and then I turned back the movie. And I realized it hit me in a wave. Donald Trump is president. Mm-hmm. Anaconda is a good movie, and Roger Ebert loved it. I'm not in the universe that I thought I was in.
Which pill did you take?
Right, exactly. Something strange is happening. How did this happen? Because I fully expected to hate this movie, and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, because the one thing people will think of was, the horrible CGI snake and all that shit. Mm-hmm. It didn't really fuck with the film at all. Like, yeah, it is indeed not great looking.
At times. At times it's fantastic. At times it's not. It just depends.
But overall, like, I was just like, one of my notes, which felt kind of weird saying, and I still don't even know what this means exactly, but I wrote it, was this movie is such an easy watch.
Yes.
I don't know what the fuck I meant by that.
No, I know exactly
but I know how I felt when I watched it.
Absolutely, right. Yeah. And that's the thing is, I'm glad you said that, because you're a video and a sound guy, and I noticed I was getting that feeling that I get when I ride the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland. Like
because there's a giant snake?
Yeah, well, there's a giant snake and the jungle and all that stuff, but just... there's a comfort level that comes. So I don't know if you noticed, but the music is like straight up cheesy but great adventure movie music.
Yeah,
it's not even horror music; it's adventure music. It's like a ride music, right?
It's so funny you say that, because I was just thinking, like, this is the horror version of Disney's Jungle Cruise.
Right. And so it was the music kept it fun. So the plotting meant that there were scares, and then there were laughs, and then there was like some character drama, which actually was way better than I expected. Like, I totally bought into the fact that these people cared about each other, especially Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube, mm-hmm. and then Jennifer Lopez and Eric Stoltz. And I didn't even know Eric Stoltz was in this movie, and he's fucking amazing. Like, he's such a good actor. I forgot how much I missed.
Is that the?
He's the guy who's the original captain. He's the guy from Pulp Fiction, the guy in the bathrobe with the drug guy.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So, but he's such a good actor. He's the one who gets like his neck intubated.
Yeah,
he's laying out. But he's like such a calm. There's like this moment where he's having a confrontation with John Voight, and John Voight is trying to tell him, no, we got to go this way. This is it, whatever. And he goes, look, you're really good at catching snakes. I'm really good at what I do. We're going this way. And, I thought like there would be some tension in that scene with him conflicting, but he's so confident. Mm-hmm. He just wins it, which is, it's just great. Whatever. It's.
I did like how they introduced all the characters in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just very quick. Like they didn't spend a whole lot of time dwelling on it. Like,
no.
Here's this guy's personality. Here's this guy's personality.
Yep.
Here's this woman's personality. They're on a boat trying to make a movie.
They're on a boat.
Here we go.
Actually, we shouldn't skip, by the way. The way it starts is great. Just the opening scene is great.
I fucking love Danny Trejo.
Yeah, I didn't know Danny Trejo was in this.
I know. I remember seeing his character because I remember the beginning of the film from like seeing it on TV, like growing up and shit. But I just never knew it was Danny Trejo because it's also kind of like dark in the beginning. But I like seeing him. Not only is it Danny Trejo, it's an oiled up Danny Trejo, and he's like fucking jacked. Yeah. He's a huge jacked man.
Yeah. But it really set a great tone. I was already on my heels watching this because I thought I was just ready for like some bad, good, cheesy. This movie's like on the 100 Razzie most enjoyable bad movies. And the first scene is just like kind of really well executed. It's that one shot where the snake comes up unexpectedly beneath the whatever he was on, tower, boat, whatever the thing was.
The little boat.
And and it hits it, and the nails in the floorboard go flying up in the air and float in front of Danny Trejo's face, and he just knows he's screwed. And then he climbs up and he just, spoiler, shoots himself because he doesn't want to get eaten by the snake.
And the shot before he kills himself, it's like the snake's POV.
Yes,
that was fucking dope.
I know, it was really good. So I was like, wait a minute, this is not the bad. And then I just kept waiting for it to get bad, and the only time it really happened was like really bad CGI moments, which were not as many as I expected.
Not as many as I remember.
Right, and
that's the Mandela.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember being just chock full of shit.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not. And then, like you pointed out, a little bit of Owen Wilson, who wasn't great in this, but
his character was a little weak.
I did like. So here's it was so weird to me because it has the structure of a slasher, right? So you got a group of people and there's an evil force, but the evil force, I don't know if you noticed, but the Anaconda only really shows up when people are like talking about sex or making out for the first 3-4 strings. So I knew Owen Wilson was dead because literally 10 minutes of the movie, he's floating down the river with Curry War or whatever her name is. And he's like, is it just me or does the jungle just make you horny? Like, there's only one thing I'm thinking about right now. I'm like, you're dead. Right?
Like, that's it.
That's it for you.
You kids better not have pot.
Right, and then he goes and makes out with her in the wilderness, and the Anaconda kills a panther, which was kind of great.
Out of nowhere.
Right, which was kind of
normally
amazing.
Horror films are like, here's the dog's gonna die. In this movie, it's like, no,
no.
You're getting a motherfucking panther, and his eyeball gets squeezed out of it.
Oh, that was so good.
Why did the snake like growl though? Wasn't that weird?
Yeah. I mean, it was growling and screaming and all kinds of sonic carrying on. It was ridiculous, but
it made it kind of cool though. I didn't like it, but I kind of.
I'm trying to imagine. I was laughing every time it was happening, but I was trying to imagine recutting the movie without that, and it just doesn't have much impact. So they went for impact. So So there's a thing that I want to bring up that's just I'm going to give credit to this guy. His name's Outlaw Vern. I talk about him quite a bit because I love him. He's a film critic. And he came up with a concept that he called mega acting. So he centered this around Nicolas Cage. He calls Nicolas Cage America's foremost mega actor. Right?
Yeah.
So he goes, the difference between mega acting and just overacting is the mega acting, you're doing it as a stylistic choice. But overacting is you've misjudged the amount of acting you should be doing.
Yeah.
So I think John Voight is mega acting in this movie.
I thought this movie was John Voight's best Scarface performance.
I thought he was doing Brando from Apocalypse Now.
Oh,
but it's because there's actually similar shots. You know, the shot with the helicopters coming over the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot where the boat's coming over the horizon. It's got the light coming down, and he's just doing like he's got the ponytail. He's doing like but
he's lit from like underneath.
Okay, so right, the first time you meet him, he's stranded, which seems to be a setup. You find out later, but he's pretending like he's stranded on a boat, possibly, and the big expedition is going by, and he jumps onto the boat. He throws his gear out of the boat, and then he jumps. The craziest jump I've ever seen a human being make.
I thought that
like
was
his face was. I could not stop laughing when he jumped like he jumped like he was the ring Frodo was throwing into Mountain Dew.
He put some ass into it.
He was really so he lands on the boat, and he's like, "Thank God you saved me." And he seems helpless and oldish and sort of disoriented, and you don't know at that moment that the opposite is true. Like, he is a super villain. Like, he is one of horror's best super villains.
He's a great villain.
Yeah, he's an amazing villain. Like, really, like one of the best in whatever. But just real quick, what happens is the shot is, and if you go back and you look at it, it's beautiful. It gave me a chill. I know I'm talking about this like this Citizen Kane, and it's not, but it's a beautiful shot because he's on the deck of the boat, kind of crouching. And then he stands up, and I didn't realize how fucking big Jon Voight is. He's like 6'3". I looked at him.
Oh, yeah.
So he stands up, and the camera sinks down, and you got this guy that you thought was helpless a second ago, and he sends this evil look at Mateo, who it turns out he knows, who's the guy who's running the ship right now.
They set that up.
But the camera's shooting him from down low, and he has gone from helpless and kind of broken and soaked and looking like a drowned puppy to like sinister giant. And he did the transformation in like 2 seconds. The shot is really cool.
That was my nose. I loved how they made Jon Voight look like a villain straight from the get after that jump. Yeah, like the shots he was giving to the other people on the boat was just sort of like. It was like, what's that movie? I'm the captain now.
Totally. Well, and that's the thing is the real plot of this movie is that this stray that they picked up becomes Captain Ahab. Like, he's on a mission and he just takes them over. And it doesn't seem like that was his plan the whole time. It just seems like it kind of organically happens, which is actually worse. But he basically just like, and there's a little bit of foreshadowing, which I really liked because the one guy I can't think of, the one with the accent who was acting all fussy at the beginning.
Oh, my favorite actor, Jonathan Hyde. He was playing Warren Westridge.
Westridge, yes.
I know him from the butler in the Macaulay Culkin Richie Rich film.
No shit.
Yeah, and I fucking love him.
He looks like he should be playing a butler. That totally makes sense. But he shows up at the beginning, and he turns to Carrie and he goes, "Can you take my bags upstairs?" Or whatever. She's like, "I'm not a bellhop," and she like blows him off and walks away. But literally, the tables turn, and towards the end of the movie, Jon Voight throws his bag or box or whatever it is down at Western's feet, and he's like, "Take those to my cat." He's like, "I'm not yours." He's like, How dare you presume to give me orders?" And he starts slapping.
That was my favorite fucking part.
He's like, "Presume? How about I presume to throw you off the boat? I presume that." Like, he kept using the word presume like an action word.
He said, he's like, yeah, my note was lost it when he said, "How dare you presume you order me around?" And then you just hear like, "How about you presume I throw you off the boat?" Like smacking his.
And he goes, "How do you like that? Presume?" He's like, it was such
I love that part.
But it's, I mean, he ended up, the guy who was throwing his bags at someone else it's like the poetic justice moment, right? So. Yeah. It's just really cool that the movie even bothered to do something like that.
I liked his character and Ice Cube's characters like back and forth because he was playing his music and there was some shit and then he was playing.
That's actually Ice Cube on that song.
Oh, was that really?
He's listening to himself.
I fucking knew it. I was wondering because when
which is not physically possible in this universe.
When he was holding the CDs, I was like, I wonder if any of those are like his tunes, and I probably
it totally is.
Probably guess they are. But I really liked their back and forth they had because then it had that payoff at the end when they like shared a moment about like them going back home, and I fucking like loved how they did that, which made me really sad when
you right when that happened.
When he gets it.
There's a thing with. There were quieter moments where kind of Jennifer Lopez is tending to Eric Stoltz because he's been injured. He's kind of incapacitated. And you could really tell that. I mean, I was totally sold that these people just cared about each other. The way Carrie, the way she screams when Owen Wilson gets killed, it was just so authentic. I mean, they were not phoning in these performances. They were good.
Just so I'm clear, they put a wasp or something like that into his...
Oh, yeah, a wasp was in his scuba gear, so it was planted by John Voight to crawl into his mouth, I guess, or in the tube of it or something like that.
I was trying to figure, because that was a big dude they pulled out of his mouth, and I was like, where did they, like, did he have it in his pocket?
He must have put it in the tube, and then it crawled towards him while he's breathing or something. I don't know. But he claims credit for that later, John Voight.
Yeah, that's why he's like, I loved a lot of the shots of the... of just like where were they at, the Amazon or something, where the hell they are.
Well, it was filmed in Brazil, so
we'll just say Brazil. I loved when they were in Brazil, I love like this like it's why I like the snake shit and like the Indiana Jones ride at Disney World. Mm-hmm. Like I loved the snake totem to go by.
That was so good.
How gnarly was that? It was just a snake noshing on
it was amazing. The guy's head. It was so good. And I love, because the framing device of the movie is they're going there to film a documentary.
Yeah.
So they're filming everything. And then the Westridge comes in with the cheesy narration as they float by the snake totem. He's like, we've had a stroke of good fortune. We found the snake totem. And I'm like, this movie's kind of great.
I loved his. I wish they would have had more of him like acting in front of the thing.
Yeah, he was pretty cool with that.
He was great. Yeah, and I noticed I loved how they purposely shot John Voight like a villain. Like whenever he was by himself.
And his facial expressions were just fucking hilarious.
He was a really good villain.
Like and his moments and his lines are just so good. When he catches the fish,
oh my god.
And he goes like full, Leatherface on it, like hacking the crap out of it.
It's like river fish, or he
goes fish river style.
Yeah, river style. And he's just like hacking it with the knife, or he puts the knife in and hacks it with a weight to cut.
But he's doing these things where he gave the one girl like that sinister nickname. He called her Baby Bird.
Oh yeah.
And it was so creepy because he says that to her when he kills her at the end. And that was actually, I mean, he is a legitimately great horror villain. Like great. I want to see more movies with this horror villain.
That brings up my next note was I think his character also did a really good job at slowly driving a wedge between the group.
Totally.
Like he's like it's like late at night with Owen Wilson's character.
Woos him over and says we can make a lot of money.
Yeah. He's just like shooting the shit with him. He's like, hey, here's a beer. Hey, by the way, I don't think we're gonna get this thing. This Anaconda's worth like $1 million.
Yeah, totally.
I thought so I liked how he recruited him.
Yep.
And then wedged it. The only character I didn't like was Owen Wilson's character.
Right.
I like Owen Wilson.
Right.
I just didn't like his character because he was just such a pushover so fast.
Yeah, that was a little plot driven, like whatever. But it does lead to the amazing scene of blowing up the wall with the dynamite and then it raining snakes.
That was cool.
Which was amazing. And the snakes are landing everywhere. I mean, we can't Ice Cube. I mean, his line, is snakes out there this big? Is just like the most amazing line. But then it's raining snakes and everyone's freaking out. And John Voight is just bathing in it. He's just enjoying. He's like grabbing little snakes. He goes, go back to your mom.
Yeah, go back to mama.
Go back. He's throwing them in the water. He goes, swim back to your mom. I'm like, this guy's totally insane.
I didn't. The only thing I thought was weird was when Westridge was just like that little baby snake.
And he's just staring.
He's just staring at it. Like, come on, man. You gotta
just shake your hand.
Just do a little something. I don't know.
That was a little
anything like
weird.
that. But then when's the nighttime fight come? That's okay. So they blow up the thing. Starts raining men. I mean snakes.
Right. Yeah.
and then the nighttime fight I really like. That's when that's when the Anaconda Johnson, that's my name for him, makes his first real appearance. And I thought that was really well done. Like,
totally.
I mean, you knew there was going to be some sort of like.
Well, you had seen him before when he killed Mateo.
Yeah, but I mean, as the group, like the whole group finally like realizes, oh shit.
But the Mateo death was amazing because one of the things I like about every horror villain. And there's two villains in this movie.
Yeah.
Every horror villain has their thing, right? Freddy invades your dreams, Jason's unstoppable, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the Anaconda's thing? And I realized when they killed Mateo what it is. the thing that makes the Anaconda like step above is he kills you, but when he's killing you, you're helpless. You can't do anything about it. He wrapped himself around Mateo, and Mateo's watching everyone walk away, the people who could help him, and he can't call to them because it crushed the breath out of him. So he's just watching the only people who could help him kind of go into the distance, and he's trying to scream, and he's like, ah.
Yeah.
And I think that's horrible.
I felt bad.
Right?
The thing that got me was the spine crunching sound. Anytime I was like, oh, god damn, there goes another one.
But one of the things that I think was really cool is, I think maybe my favorite moment of the whole movie is after Mateo gets eaten, and you're treated to Jon Voight obviously not caring that bad things are happening to people more and more. He's pretending to be concerned in the beginning, but he just lets that slip and shows his true,
He's just gone.
So they all go looking for Mateo, and they come back to the boat, and they can't find him. They find his flashlight, but he's gone. And they ask Jon Voight to go help on the search, and he literally says, maybe some other time.
Yeah, after making everyone else go out and do shit.
Which was so cold, right? So they all come back. They haven't found him. And Jon Voight goes, look, he unrolls the snakeskin, and he goes, this is what's out there. He goes,
he unravels it. It was so nicely rolled up too.
Totally. Ta-da! So he unravels the skin, and my favorite moment is he looks at him and he goes, don't make me a monster. I didn't eat Captain Mateo. and then everyone leaves, and Jon Voight's walking around just looking so pleased and happy with how things are going. And Curry's character turns to Owen Wilson and looks at Jon Voight's face, and turns to Owen Wilson and goes, I'm not sure he didn't eat Captain Mateo. Look how satisfied he looks right now. And they had done a really good job of kind of combining Jon Voight and the snake into a supervillain. Like when the snake ate, Jon Voight seemed to get stronger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because there was one less dude.
Right, yeah, exactly. And it was a weird symbiotic relationship between the two. And that was literally just him back there licking his lips like he just ate a human. And we can't forget, once Owen Wilson goes down, one of the most amazing shots is Owen Wilson in the snake.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Where he's pressed up against the skin. Yeah. Oh my god, that was sick.
I like little touches like that.
That was so good.
And I think the design of the snake itself is pretty. It's just a giant snake, but it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
to me.
They gave it like the super evil face. They were making sure that you were scared.
They're like, by the way, at first glance, this is a giant evil snake. Do not be confused with Titanoboa.
And then every character, there was a payoff for everyone. So they didn't even modern horror movies that this is not a fair comparison but this movie blew my mind that it was actually way better than I expected. The way, like 10 years from now, if I went back and watched Bye Bye Man and it was great, I'd be like, what the hell? What the hell?
That doesn't add up.
Yeah, what just happened? But like, there are so many payoffs that were set up in Bye Bye Man that never came to pass. They just let the threads drop.
Yeah.
But in this one, even the every character got, like, one of my favorite moments, is by way of example, is even Westridge, who doesn't play much of a part in this. Mm-hmm. They set up a scene where Jennifer Lopez is trying to seduce, semi-seduce Jon Voight, distract him so that they can capture him. And
they did like a 2-part plan on that.
Yeah, it was a 2-part plan. Exactly.
Cool.
And then Ice Cube comes in, and Jon Voight's like, do you think I'm stupid? And pulls a gun at him. And Westridge hits him in the back of the head with a golf club. And he's like, asshole in one. So he got his moment, like his heroic. He actually had 2 heroic moments, because when they were chasing Jennifer Lopez, when the snake was chasing Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube, he splashed the water and distracted it, and that's why he died.
Yeah.
Because it came after him. By the way, it snagged him out of clear fucking air.
That was
at the waterfall.
That was a pretty cool shot.
That was pretty.
I really like that.
That was pretty amazing.
Like, it's one of those shots where, like, I didn't mind the CGI. I'm like, nah, they went for a really cool shot and pulled it off.
They totally did.
That wasn't easy to pull off back then.
No,
that kind of stuff.
Fuck no.
No, and then the other payoff, which I'm going to jump a little bit towards the end of the film. Mm-hmm. This part grossed me out the most, is when I think his Jon Voight's character makes it a thing to let you know that the anaconda spits its food out to hunt it again.
Yep.
And then, in good fashion, unlike some of the other films we mentioned that don't have the payoff, This one's like, by the way, here's John Voight, and he did the wink. He did that gross ass wink to her.
I saw a tweet about Anaconda, and it literally said, John Voight is half dead and digested and just got spit out of a snake's mouth, and he's still overacting. And it's totally true, because that wink was kind of ridiculous, but yeah, it was gross, man.
I liked it. I mean, he looked like Brundlefly.
Yeah.
That's why I was
that
like,
was cool.
I like PTSD from that. I'm like, no, please do not.
Well, meanwhile, I mean, the whole end sequence got grosser and grosser. I mean, he pulled a carry bucket blood move on him.
Yeah, it's like, where'd you get that monkey's blood?
Soaked him with monkey. Well, he drained the monkey. That was actually a cool shot.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because it was coming down from the hair. You just saw it right off camera.
That's right. And that monkey makes another appearance when it.
Yeah, when he gets spit out too. Yeah. But then he's baiting the anaconda. That's his trap setup.
Oh, that's right.
Because he's making them smell like, the monkey blood and whatnot.
Easy. Well, we're almost done.
Okay.
We got like 5 more minutes. We're just going to wrap it up. Is that cool? Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, the whole ending of it is I mean, it's pretty effective. It gets pretty gross, and I loved I did not expect the flaming snake smoke
that's
trap.
the part I remember from the watching it on TV, was thinking like, oh, that's kind of cool.
And it was kind of great, right? I mean, it's just, if you're gonna go over the top, just go over the top, which they totally did.
To me, you know what? The other thing I was thinking was, this movie, like, there's certain films. I forget what company produced this, but like, whenever I think of like spectacle films, like you're going to the movie theaters to like enjoy it. I always think of like Paramount and shit like that, like Wayne's World and Addams Family type stuff. But this movie had that feeling for me, which is probably why I thought it was an easy watch. Like, it almost sort of felt like a spectacle.
Totally.
Almost like they wanted to like do some cool shit with like a giant snake.
Totally.
And like a really good cast.
Yep.
And like, here's just a fun fucking movie.
Exactly.
We don't care. Here it is.
And
I think that's probably why I made it for an easy watch. Like,
and this movie made $136 million.
What was it? Do you know what its budget was?
It's like 42.
Jesus. So it did good.
And it spawned a franchise that I had no idea existed. There's Anaconda 2 and 3. There's Anaconda versus Lake Placid.
What?
This is a franchise, man.
I do like Placid, but no, I think this movie just like, I think your Mandela effect thing is not that it's your effect, you didn't create it, but the one that you presented at the top of the show.
In the other universe, I created it.
Yeah, in the other universe, you did create it.
Yep.
I think it's very true. I'm very shocked that this movie, like, I loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty great. It's not perfect, but it is fun, and it's not. I mean, I was expecting this to be painful. Like I was expecting this.
Yeah, like there's been worse films than How Low Can We Go?
Yeah, there sure is. And one of the things that I thought was really cool is every time I thought, well, it's just fun and it's kind of stupid, and then bad CGI would happen. It would save itself and come up with a kind of a cool moment, like one of the great scenes. Jennifer Lopez's character bothered me a little bit in this one. I don't think it was written a little off kilter, like a little weird. I mean, she did Out of Sight the year after this, which was a great role.
Yeah,
so she could have done more.
Her character, this one was really forgettable. I think it's because of John Voight.
Yeah, I could totally see that. But she gets a great moment because John Voight's basically a poacher. He captures snakes for a living. He sells them to zoos and private collectors and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they spring a trap on John Voight and they capture him, and then they tie him to a pole, and then she leans down to him and she goes, "See, what you do isn't so hard. I can trap snakes too." And it was kind of awesome that she was literally flipping the script on him and being like, I'm
the captain now. Totally. We get 2 IMD captains in this movie.
That's totally.
It's really great.
I thought this was fantastic.
What did you think of the redhead dying real quick? We didn't mention her. She just came, like, she got choked to death, like Goldeneye.
I thought that was great, actually. I thought it was part of his supervillain move, and I thought, because he has this weird religious angle to him. So he was saying, so actually, I'm glad you said, because something really cool happens in that scene. Go back and rewatch it, because she's going to kill him. She's got a knife on him, and he's tied to a pole.
Yeah.
And she's struggling with it because you can tell she's a good person, but she's also really mad at him because he killed her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at her and he goes, "Never look someone you're going to kill in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You'll regret it. They'll haunt you forever. The eyes will haunt you forever." He goes, "I know."
Yeah.
Which is a great chilling moment, right? And then he pulls the GoldenEye move.
Yeah, he just jumps up like 6 feet.
Which was, I mean, whatever. But and then he's choking her, and the entire time he's choking her, he's staring her down.
Oh.
Like he's literally doing what he told her not to do because he doesn't have a conscience.
He doesn't give a
right?
shit.
And then he just calls her baby bird, which is, I mean, he's an animal killer, right? I actually thought that whole sequence was great. I thought it was just a great surprise.
Wow. All right. Well, my I've changed. You know, George, I think my favorite scene is when the redhead.
No.
Gets
Asshole in one is your favorite.
Asshole in one is a great line.
All right, so ratings.
Well, ending real quick.
Okay.
Ending. What do you think of like the complete ending?
Just
kind of ends. There's like villagers here, roll camera.
Yeah.
Then they sort of get to make their movie.
Yeah, they get to make their movie. Again, it's weird because it was a little anticlimactic, but I did like the fact that when they rolled up on that village, they all turned to each other and they were like, "I'll be damned, Cerrone was right." Because John Voight told them that this is a village that worships snakes and they live here and like whatever. He was right. He wasn't lying to them. He was manipulating them.
Yeah.
But he was right about because he had gotten into a fight with Eric Stoltz about where they were and blah blah whatever. And Eric Stoltz was like, "I know what I'm doing." And it turned out that John Voight was. I thought that was kind of cool. It was a kind of a quiet trail off ending. But I mean, given that you had flying fucking flaming snakes and spit out monkeys,
and they finally get to make their movie.
Right. They finally get to make their movie,
which is great. The one thing I just want to end on before we do the scores was. And maybe this is just because I think he's my newish, not a live actor, but John Voight reminded me of George C. Scott.
Yes.
Did you get that too?
Yeah, I think that's generational. I think, and it's an acting style that was from that generation, and it's very, because you're right. It reminds me a little of Rod Steiger. Like but there's just there's a graininess to the acting.
Yeah.
That's, really, really, I mean, I'm not going to lie. He's not Brando. I mean, he was great in a Snake B movie, right? Yeah. So it's not like, is this amazing, whatever, but he crafted, like we were talking about the Firestarter movie before with the Rainbird, the villain, and that Ponytail too, right?
Yeah, that's why it was very
and you can see that there is, but see the thing is that I think that John Voight's overacting was George C. Scott overacts, but there's an intensity to it. I think John Voight was intentionally having fun a lot of the time for this.
Better than unintentionally having fun.
Totally. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I literally. I could care less at this point about another Saw movie. I'm done with whatever. And this
you're gonna get one next.
Leatherface looks underwhelming. That's coming up here shortly, whatever. But we keep remaking umpteen movies with the same horror villains. But this guy deserves another movie. He's a great horror villain. If there was Anaconda with this character in it, I would just go. He
did get the Anaconda did spit him back up. We never saw him.
That's true.
And he technically didn't eat him because he got caught on fire and died in the lake.
That's true. So there's always a chance.
Maybe he's out there.
Nobody wants the sequel but me. But okay, that's fine.
That's fine. Okay, so final scores. Where would you rate it?
I'm honestly put it somewhere at like a 65.
That's a good score.
I think that it does not deserve to be in the 30s. It definitely deserves to be fresh. The jungle is beautiful. The way it's shot is great. I thought the music was fun.
They did a lot of magic hour.
Yeah, they
shots like when the sun's going down.
They did.
This is a pretty
I feel like the jungle in this movie is watch this heresy. I feel like the jungle in this movie is kind of more attractive and more memorable than the jungle in Kong Skull Island.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, in what world is this? Should this movie be accomplishing that? So, I just don't put it over in the higher category because I don't even think it wants to be there. I think it knows that it's a fun adventure movie with some horror elements and whatever.
And a giant flaming snake.
And what do you say?
I would go. I think 60.
Say,
I think 60 is good. I don't think we both have only chose one film that deserved to be rotten. This is not
This is not.
this is not one of them.
This is not one of
It's
them.
and like I said before, it's an easy watch.
Yeah.
Like it's just fun to have on the TV and be like, oh, there we go.
I know that if this comes on like Shudder or Live TV like next year, I'm just gonna sit through it.
Keep it on.
Yeah.
So until next time, watch a bunch of scary movies and stay scary.
I guess.
Bye.